Good evening, my name is Chun. So today I will present about my industrial training under the pumping department at the TFMD Microelectronic Penang Sdn Berhad. Next, let me first introduce my company. The TFMD Microelectronic Sdn Berhad is a semiconductor company that specializes in providing the advanced assembly and test service for high performance computing, communication, and other semiconductor production. So the TFMD is established through a partnership between the AMD and Tongfu Microelectronic, can say TFME lah. Then the TFMD serves as AMD's main advanced packaging and test supplier in Malaysia. Okay, next. In TFMD, we are required to follow the non-disclosure agreement or NDA. This means I am not allowed to take a picture or video inside the production line. It is crowd exposure confidential information about the machine and process. Because of this, my presentation does not include any actual company with photo and video. Instead, I will use some example photo from the Google just to illustrate the concept. My position in this bumping department is a equipment engineer. So the role as a equipment engineer is machine maintenance, like the preventive maintenance, troubleshooting and repairing machine to make sure they operate smoothly and avoid the unexpected breakdown. Next is the support production, like to ensure the machine are always in good condition so that the production run in continuously. After that is the system improvement, like work together with the process engineer to improve the machine performance and reduce the cycle time. Next is the new equipment setup, like involved in installation, testing, and qualify new machine before they are used in production. And after that is safety and compliance, like make sure that all the machine follow the safety standard and regulation to protect the both operator and equipment. And lastly is the collaboration, like work closely with the technician, engineer and vendors to solve the problem and share the technical knowledge. Next, we talk about the working environment. So in the pumping department, we have 3 areas for example like yellow light room, white light room, and BSM room. So for the yellow light room, this environment is very sensitive because any UV light or blue light can be damage the patterning process. Next is the white light room. So this area is used for non-photo process like cleaning, sputtering, etching, and final QC checking. Then next for the BSM is a backside metallization. This section is focused on the coating the backside of the wafer with the metal layer, usually for electrical conductivity and bonding the strength. Okay, the next slide is SOP in production line. So before we enter into the production line, we must follow the SOP, like wear the hair cover, face mask, wash hand, and wear the clean room jumpsuit and boots. So the hair cover is used to prevent the loose hair or dandruff contamination. Next, the face mask is wear to avoid the breath particle enter into the clean room. Next, the wash hand is used to reduce the contamination risk. And lastly, the jumpsuit and boots is used to prevent the skin or outside particle enter into the clean room. After we wear all the jumpsuit and boots, we must go into the air shower room to use to shower all the particles from outside. The next slide is the job score for me. As an intern, my main role is follow the engineers and technicians in the production line. This helped me to understand how the equipment engineer works and manage the machine. I also learned about the preventive maintenance or PM and corrective maintenance to make sure the machine run in smoothly. Part of my daily task is observe the machine operation, record the gauges, and collect the process data. Sometimes I support the engineer with documentation work, such as the updating the Excel record, writing the working instruction, and help to set up the MES system. Lastly, I also assist the project and daily tasks. Also, I can gain more exposure to the actual responsibility of an equipment engineer. Next is my all activities and for my as an intern in the TFMD. During my first week in the bumping department, I started an orientation in the Batu Kawan site where I was introduced the clean room SOP, safety rules, and the overall workflow of the bumping line. After that, I learned about the wafer bumping process, including the important steps such as the PI coating and curing, plating, etching, and inspection. A most important experience in this week was the company power dip, where I follow the senior engineer to monitor and recover the machine in the URI area. Through this, I understand the importance of UPS, like system and preventive maintenance in keeping the machine safety during the sudden power issue. I also learned about the PI curing in the URI room, focusing on how the BM and HD material require different curing profile, the rule of the temperature control, and how the wafer are loaded for the balance and quality. Lastly, I study about the effect the bumping defect and their solution, which show me why the preventive maintenance is necessary to maintain wafer quality and improve the production yield. Overall, my first week gave me a strong foundation in the understanding both the technical process and the importance of equipment maintenance in the bumping department. Okay, next for my second week, I attend the orientation season at the Paya site, where I was introduced to the facility and operation. So in week 2, my first main task was observe and record all the gauges reading from all machines in the URI area. I classify the result as in range, under range, over range, and not in use. After reporting, I follow the technician to adjust all the out of range gauges back to the normal range, with the result begin either correct and unchanged. So initially I record everything in the paper, but it become the messy. So my senior engineer suggests me switch into the Excel file, which made the data easier to manage and analyze. So I use the URI room desktop for input and label all the data into the Excel file. So this task give me a better understanding for all the machine conditions and improve my skill in data recording and preventive maintenance. Next, in week 3, I starting to learn all the preventive for each machine in the UI room. So I start to learning about the photolithography process used in the wafer bumping. First, I study about the PI coating, where the BM and HD material are applied as insulating and protective layer with the different thickness and sensitive to UV light. Then I observe the PI stepper, which is used to UV exposure to pattern all the all the pattern in the PI layer and create the wheels above the metal pad. These wheels are then using the PI developer, which is used to remove the unwanted part of the PI to opening the connection for all the later process. Next, I learned about the PR coating machine, which is a spin coat a thin and uniform the photoresis layer across on the wafer. This photoresis is temporary and not used for patterning, unlike PI, which is remain the permanent insulating layer. Finally, I studied the PR stepper, which transfer bump pattern from the mask onto the PR layer using the UV light. This define the exact position and shape the copper pillar or the solder bump. Overall, in this week, give me deeper understanding about how the PI and PR process work together in bump. Overall, this week give me a deeper understanding on how the PI and PR process work together in the bumping. Next, in week 4, I learned about more in the inspection and cleaning process in the bumping. First, I studied about the PR developer, which remove either the exposure or unexposure photoresis after the stepper exposure, creating the bump pattern mode need for the electroplating. I was also introduced the AOI machine, which automatically inspection wafer using the camera and image processing to detect the defect, and the OM machine, an optical microscope used for manual inspection and defect the confirmation. These two are critical in ensuring the wafer quality. Next, I learned about the EBR profiler, which check the wafer edge after the edge break removal. This step is important because the SSPR and PI at the wafer edge can interfere with the later process. The profiler ensures the edge is clean and within the required specification. I also learned about the cup clean machine, which is used to clean the wafer carrier cup. Since the PR and PI coating can cause the splash and drip, regular clean prevent contamination. So in week 5, I was introduced to the chemical delivery system, that is CDS. So this is a new facility that replaced the old manual method refueling chemical. Previously, all the technicians had to carry the pour chemicals into the machine, which was very unsafe and time consuming. With CDS, the chemicals are stored in the center room and automatically delivered through the secure pipelines. This makes the process much safer and more efficiency and easier to control. I follow engineers and technicians during the pipe installation and testing process. My role was to assist the simple but important tasks such as the tying the pipe to ensure the places safety to prevent leaks. I also help in the transport chemical drums using the forklift and connecting them to the CDS machine for testing. This gives me a better understanding of how the CDS system works, and my second major task of the week was preparing the working instruction under the guidance of the senior process engineer. We collect the photo, machine details, and the explanation from both the vendor and machine and engineer. Since the CDS was still under testing, we focus on documentation, the mechanical part, and layout first. I assist the engineer to organize the picture and providing the input based on my earlier CDS experience. One of my draft was ready. I was sent to the senior process engineer to checking first, then later reviewed by both equipment and process engineer team, included the manager. So this is what I'm doing in the week 5. In week 6, my main task was assist with the setup of preventive maintenance checklist in the MES system. Previously, the technician used the Excel file, which were hard to manage. By moving the checklist into MES, the technician can key in all the data directly after maintenance, and the engineer and or the managers can review the record. I also learned how the system required us to create the code for each procedure, machine type, and maintenance interval, such as daily, monthly, quarterly, half annually, and annually. So after we complete to set up the first machine, we test it using the that machine. However, we faced an issue that the step called attach the character version, which is required IT department access. So we had to wait until the permission was granted. During this time, I realized I was using an engineer laptop, which was inconvenient. So I request to borrow the sharing laptop and install the MES there. So this solution allowed me to continue to set up without to interrupt their work. I then complete the configuration for 2 machines at the weekly level, where the data entry was still simple in yes or no format. For the next step, which is the under exploration, will involve the configuration range base data like the numerical limit and the value. In week 7, I continue work on the preventive maintenance checklist set up in the MES system. I managed in this week to complete the monthly and above the checklist, which are more complex compared to the daily setup. The daily checklist only use the simple result like yes or no response, while the monthly and above require the minimum and maximum range and required multiple range in one event. One current issue is that the system cannot label each range clearly, which could confuse the technician, and also is still being explored by the engineer. So in this week, I complete to set up the ALI machine 01, 02, 03, and 04, and then the OM machine, sputter machine, and lastly is the curing 01, 02, and 03 machine. So me and the engineer use the ALI 001 quarterly machine test as the trial, and the result matched to our expectation. This was confirming that the setup process works correctly. This allows us to standardize and simplify the procedure for the future step. In week number 8 until now, I still focus on setting up the more preventive maintenance checklist in the MES system. So I started with the oven baking PR machine, PI engineering machine, and thickness measurement machine, which are simple to configure since their list were short. After that, I done the X-ray machine, Skyburst, and EBR machine. And in the conclusion, my internship in the pumping department gave me a solid foundation in both process knowledge and equipment engineering tasks. I learned the wafer pumping flow, gained the hands-on experience with various machines, and assisted in preventive maintenance activities. I also support the setup of the new chemical delivery system and contribution to digitalization by creating preventive maintenance checklists in the MES system. Overall, this experience improved my technical skill teaching me the importance of teamwork, safety, preventive maintenance in semiconductor production. So that's all for my presentation, and thank you.